Hello, everyone. In this lesson, we are working on a TOEFL writing task called Write for an Academic Discussion. Before we move on to the question, this short introduction will help you understand what is expected and how to approach the task. You will practice writing clearly, politely, and effectively in a real-life situation, which will prepare you for the writing section. If you are looking to sharpen your writing skills for the exam, make sure to follow along with us here at my TOEFL for more daily practice and expert tips. A professor has posted a question about a topic, and students have responded with their thoughts and ideas. Make a contribution to the discussion. This instruction is the foundation of the task. It tells you that you are entering an ongoing conversation. You need to read what the professor and the other students have said, and then add your own unique perspective. Think of it as joining a seminar where you need to show you have understood the previous points while bringing something new to the table. You will have 10 minutes to write. Timing is everything in this section. You have exactly 10 minutes to read the prompt, plan your ideas, and type your response. This means you should aim for a quick but organized flow of thoughts to ensure you finish within the time limit. Your professor is teaching a class on campus life. In this scenario, the setting is a university course focused on campus life. This context is vital because it sets the tone for your vocabulary and the type of arguments you should use. You are expected to sound like a university student, discussing a policy that directly affects your academic environment. Recognizing this academic setting helps you choose the right formal yet conversational tone that TOEFL graders look for. Write a post responding to the professor's question. In your response, you should do the following. This part of the prompt is your checklist. It reminds you that your main goal is to answer the specific question asked by the professor. Do not just talk about the general topic. Make sure your post is a direct reply to the professor's inquiry. Express and support your opinion. This is the core of your writing score. You must clearly state what you believe, and, most importantly, explain why. Using reasons and examples to back up your claims shows the examiners that you can develop an argument logically and persuasively. Make a contribution to the discussion in your own words. Originality is key. While you should refer to the ideas mentioned by other students, you must use your own phrasing and introduce new angles. Copying exact sentences from the prompt will lower your score, so focus on paraphrasing and adding your unique voice. An effective response will contain at least 100 words. While quality is more important than quantity, you need enough length to develop your ideas fully. Aiming for at least 100 words ensures you have provided enough detail and supporting evidence to meet the academic standards of the test. Professor, many universities are considering a policy that would require all first-year students to live in on-campus dormitories. The professor introduces the main topic, which is a mandatory housing policy for freshmen. This sentence sets the stage for the debate. Understanding that this is about a requirement is important because your answer must address whether this should be forced or optional. Proponents say this helps new students build a sense of community, make friends, and adapt more easily to university life. Here, the professor presents the positive side. The key phrase, sense of community, is a great point to expand on in your response. Notice the verb adapt, which refers to the social and academic adjustments students must make. Opponents argue that this policy removes students' autonomy and can be an unnecessary financial burden. Now we see the counter-argument. Pay attention to the word autonomy, which means independence or the right to choose. The term financial burden is also crucial, as it introduces the idea of cost as a major disadvantage. Do you think universities should require first-year students to live on campus? This is the direct question you must answer. Your entire response should revolve around whether you agree or disagree with this requirement. Why or why not? This is a reminder to provide justification for your stance. Simply saying yes or no is not enough. You must provide the underlying reasons to support your choice. Student 1. Yes, I think it's a great idea because it helps with the social transition to university. Student 1 takes a clear pro-dorm stance. They focus on the social transition, which is a strong point to acknowledge or build upon in your own writing. Living in dorms forces students to interact with their peers and participate in campus events, which is crucial for building a support network. This sentence explains the mechanism of the benefit. The phrase support network is an excellent academic term you can use to describe the friendships and help students find in dorms. Consequently, they are less likely to feel isolated during their first year. Student 1 uses the transition word consequently to show a result. They highlight the prevention of isolation, which is a common problem for new students. Student 2. I disagree with this policy, however. Student 2 presents the opposing view. Using the word however clearly signals a shift in perspective from the first student. University students are adults and should have the freedom to choose where they live. The focus here is on freedom to choose. Student 2 argues that students should be treated as adults who can make their own lifestyle decisions. For many, living at home or in an off-campus apartment is a much more affordable option. This sentence brings in the economic factor. The word affordable is key here, suggesting that dorms might be too expensive for everyone. Mandating dorm life could therefore create significant financial stress for students and their families. The conclusion for student 2 is about financial stress. The verb mandating is a more formal way of saying requiring, which is a great word to use in your own response. Now that we have analyzed the professor's question and the students' responses, let's start our own post. Our strategy will be to acknowledge both sides, but take a firm position. We want to show the grader that we can synthesize information from others while providing a new, well-reasoned argument. Let's begin by stating our opinion clearly while referencing the previous points. I believe that while the financial concerns mentioned by student 2 are valid, the long-term academic and social advantages of mandatory on-campus housing outweigh the costs. In the opening, we use "I believe that" while to set up a complex sentence structure. This shows the examiner that we can handle advanced grammar right away. Next, we acknowledge the other side by saying the financial concerns mentioned by student 2. This is a strategic move called synthesis, which proves we have read the previous posts. Then, we add "are valid" to show we are being fair and academic. Now we pivot to our own stance with the long-term academic and social advantages. This tells the reader exactly what our main points will be. We finish the sentence with "of mandatory on-campus housing and outweigh the costs." This clear comparison strengthens task fulfillment because it directly addresses the conflict between the two previous students. When freshmen reside together, they are immersed in a scholarly environment that fosters collaborative learning and provides immediate access to campus resources like libraries and tutoring centers. We start our first supporting point with "when freshmen reside together," which establishes the condition we are discussing. Then, we write, "they are immersed in a scholarly environment." Using strong vocabulary like immersed and scholarly helps boost your lexical resource score. We continue with "that fosters collaborative learning" to explain the academic benefit. This adds a new layer to the discussion that the other students didn't mention. We conclude this thought with "and provides immediate access to campus resources like libraries and tutoring centers." These specific examples provide the concrete evidence needed for a high score in support and development. This proximity to academic life, as student 1 suggested, significantly eases the transition from high school by providing a structured support system. Now we connect back to the social aspect. We start with "this proximity to academic life" to link our previous point to the next one. We then add "as student 1 suggested," which is a great way to show engagement with the conversation. We follow this with "significantly eases the transition from high school" to explain the emotional benefit. Finally, we use the phrase "by providing a structured support system." This clarifies exactly why dorm life is helpful, strengthening the coherence of our response. Furthermore, the sense of belonging developed in dormitories often leads to higher retention rates and better psychological well-being. To add more depth, we use the transition word "furthermore," which helps with the flow of the text. Then, we write "the sense of belonging developed in dormitories." This is a more sophisticated way to talk about building a community. We link this to "often leads to higher retention rates." Bringing in professional terms like retention rates shows a high level of academic English. We finish with and better psychological well-being. This covers the mental health aspect, making our argument feel complete and well-rounded. To address the economic disparity, universities could offer tiered housing options or increased financial aid, rather than abandoning the requirement altogether. Now we offer a solution to Student 2's concern. We start with, to address the economic disparity, which shows we are problem-solving. Then, we suggest that universities could offer tiered housing options. This demonstrates we can use modal verbs like could for suggestions. We add or increased financial aid as another practical alternative. We wrap up this point with, rather than abandoning the requirement altogether. This shows that we are sticking to our original position while being flexible, which is a very mature academic move. By ensuring that all first-year students live on campus, institutions provide an equitable starting point for everyone, regardless of their background. Finally, we conclude our post. We start with, by ensuring that all first-year students live on campus, summarizing the main policy. Then we state that institutions provide an equitable starting point. Using the word equitable instead of just fair shows a better command of English. We end the response with, for everyone, regardless of their background. This closing statement is powerful and ties all our points together, leaving a strong final impression on the grader.